Hello, you beautiful legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast. This is episode number 782, and today I'll be digging out quite an old draft because recent episodes became a little bit dull, and in the light of our coming travel to Canary Islands again, I decided to start digging a little bit into drafts that I created, and they never came into fruition. And while most of the drafts that are still there are probably about 5 or 6 posts that I want to still do or write about from Gran Canaria, there was one much older post. I think it was supposed to be day 300 and something, so over a year ago, and it was about Hypnic jerks, and I will shortly go through it because the whole write-up explains everything. So I suggest you to go to bluntforcehealing.com or bluntforcehealing.wordpress.com and read the blog post which explains everything, but I'll try to explain it concisely in this episode. But first, let me give you a quick run through the updates because it's a journal and I'm journaling about the previous day. So let's talk about Thursday. Thursday was a bit of an kind of normal day because it started as most of the work days during the school year. So we basically went to school to drop Julian for his day, and then it slightly changed because normally we go straight into some place to take our walk, but this time we parked in Donegal town around the square, or in our case it's called the Diamond because it's more triangular than squarish. And we wanted to go to the bank and to the shop to look for some tracksuit bottoms or the trousers for myself, and maybe some t-shirt, whatever, and maybe even a hoodie or whatever that we can get, because I want to change some clothes and get rid of some older, well-worn clothes. But unfortunately, most of these things were opening at 10 a.m. and we were barely past 9, so we decided to go to a cafe that we weren't for quite a while in. It's called Little Mamas. They are quite known in the region from their gelatos or whatever, the ice cream. But we went there to get some coffees, and there's a nice place, nice cozy space upstairs that we sat down in and enjoyed it while chatting. And once that 10 a.m. hit the clock, we went to the bank. Then we circled around the town and got to the shop. I actually got one pair of bottom tracksuit and some t-shirt and some shorts, so it wasn't completely without purpose. And afterwards we also visited the social welfare department because, well, I don't want to go on any social kind of benefit thing after I left the company. I am in fact not working per se formally, so I need to get onto the register and make sure that my contribution to kind of pay related social insurance contributions are being paid at least by the government before I take on any jobs or create my own setup and start paying those contributions. So it's very important because based on those contributions, a lot of things are measured or assessed in Ireland. So I want to make sure that it's still going. And then we drove to Rosnalla. We went to Bakery Shack. Obviously, Elizabeth didn't want a second coffee, so she took some tea or some other beverage, and I took my coffee. We drove down to the beach, enjoyed the morning cuppa, second cuppa, and then we went on a short walk along the beach, and then drove back home. And that was pretty much it, to be honest. Then I just picked Julian from school, and we made some dinner, bought some groceries, and the only real thing that was important that day was that we also booked the car for the stay at Tenerife. It was quite expensive. I dragged for too long, and I already paid twice the price that I was probably seeing about a week or two ago. So they definitely increase with every day closer to our departure. But the car is booked, the first hotel is booked, first 2 nights, and we decided to go along as we discover new places and nice places. Then we will be booking stays. So we are not planning ahead too much. We'll just go with the flow and enjoy the whole trip together. So that was pretty much Thursday. So let me get quickly to Hypnic jerks. So some of you might be aware of that. I wasn't, but I knew that something is happening. At some stage in my life, I started noticing when I was falling asleep, a sudden jerks, but basically twitches of the whole body that were waking me up just as I was falling asleep. And I felt it's something wrong, and it went across my life, and it still happens from time to time. But I wanted to check that up, but it always kind of faded and I forgot about it. And for some time, I wasn't paying attention to them until I started seeing them with Julian, my son. And that got me interested. And I actually checked that up over a year ago and did some research. But as I wrote the initial draft, it stayed in the draft form. So I decided to go back to it and repost it. So it's already published, and if you're watching this episode, you can read the blog post. But basically, they are called Hypnic jerks, and there are different myths around them that they might be caused by dehydration, or it's some sort of sickness, or maybe it's related to anxiety and all this stuff, but not at all. If you're worried about it and you have them, they are perfectly normal. Many people have them. They are not fully researched, or we don't know fully their origin, but yes, they can be amplified, or in kind of their frequency might increase with anxiety, stress, and other stuff. But in general, their whole origin seems to be a reminder of very primal instincts or signals sent from the brain to wake you up when you're falling asleep, either when you were at the trees when we were as some form of monkey relative, or when we were very primitive human beings, to probably not fall asleep when we were on watch or something like that. There's plenty of different theories, but these two are very much the most convincing, that this is just basically reminder or a glitch in our system that we have many in different areas of our body from the past. So no, they are not dangerous. There's no danger to hypnic jerks. Those twitches happen. If you have them, don't worry about them. Of course, if they are very frequent and they start interrupting your sleep and you can't function normally because your sleep is deprived, then you should probably see a doctor and start working on your sleep routine and normalize it. But for now, that's basically it. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of the day, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. I always appreciate your time. Stay tuned and see you again tomorrow.